Welcome to this HTML and CSS course. This is part of my Ultimate Web Development course that takes you from beginner to professional level software developer. By the end of this video, you'll be able to build and deploy your first website. So before we begin, let's briefly talk about web development. So web development basically means building for the web. And there are two main categories of web development. We have front-end development, and then we have back-end development. So for the front-end, developers use languages such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These are the main languages for the web. And actually, every website you see around is built using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So what is HTML? HTML is Hypertext Markup Language, basically defines the structure of the web. CSS is short for Cascading Style Sheet. It's basically used to style the HTML page and just make the page look more beautiful and presentable. And for the JavaScript, are basically used to add functionality to the HTML page. For example, if you click a button, maybe a pop-up opens, or if you click a button, you submit a form. Yeah, so basically adds functionality on HTML page. So to access the internet, we use browsers such as Chrome, Edge, Opera Mini, Safari, Firefox, and so on. But beside using these browsers to access the internet, these browsers come with web development tools that developers use to test what they are building, to test their page, and so many other things. So to demonstrate that every website uses HTML and CSS, I have my X account open. And for me to show you that, I'm going to right click anywhere on the page and then open Inspect Tool. So this will open developer tools for the Chrome browser. And what you're seeing here, these are elements on the first tab. You're seeing the elements that make up this page. So these are basically HTML elements. And then on the right hand side, you're seeing styles. Yeah, so these are CSS styles, what have been used to style the page. So you're seeing we have HTML elements, we have CSS styles, and beside that, also this website uses JavaScript that adds functionality. For example, if you click this button, you'll be able to subscribe, or maybe you open a pop-up and something like that. Yeah, so these tools, again, they're used to test things. For example, let me say I'm testing something here. I just want to tamper with this page a little bit. So I'm highlighting this element here. So let's say I wanted to just edit it and maybe tell someone, hey, Elon has mentioned my name today. So yeah, so what I do is you just highlight the part you want to edit or test. So let's say yep. So let's say I want to add my name here and say yep. Maybe you are right. And then my name. Yeah, so you see I've modified the text here. So I can even prank my friends and tell them, hey, you know, Elon Musk has mentioned my name today. So maybe let's say you screenshot this part and share with them on WhatsApp and tell them, hey, my name has been mentioned somewhere today. Yeah, anyway, the main point was showing you these web development tools. So as we shall be working on our page, we'll be going to talk more about this. Yeah, so again, one thing you need to know is that when I refresh, everything goes back to normal, because this is just my local page just for testing. So beside using browsers, we also need tools for development. And the main tool we need is a text editor. In this course, we are going to use Visual Studio Code, one of the best code editors out there. So to get it, just go to your browser and type Visual Studio Code, or you can just say VS Code. And then from there, you can either download directly, or you can just open. And then depending with the system you're using, you will see an option to download. So for this case, we are using Windows. You can open download for Windows and then just download. It will take some time, so you can just wait for it. So that's done. So now you can locate your downloaded file in your downloads. And once you see it, double click to install and then agree to the terms. Just click next. Then make sure to highlight all the options, create desktop icon so that you can easily find the app. Also, you can open with code, action to Window Explorer. Just check all of these and then you can click install. So once you're done, click finish. And then this will automatically launch your code editor. So we'll be coming back to the code editor to do some settings that will make working with our editor more efficient. So finally, let's get to work. We said HTML is hypertext markup language. It's used to define the structure of a web page. So a HTML document is made up of HTML elements that are composed together to form up a HTML document. So we have a number of HTML elements. With me here are commonly used HTML elements. For example, we have the head element, the title element, the body element, the paragraph element, and so on. So really you don't need to cram any of these elements. They'll come naturally as you use them. And also in this course, we are going to use most of these as we continue. So beside that, I want us to go deeper into looking at the structure of these HTML elements. So let's look at the anatomy of a HTML element. A HTML element will look something like this. In this example, we are having an anchor tag element that defines a link in a HTML document, but generally all the other elements will look something like this. So we have an opening tag, we have content in the middle, and then we have a closing tag. So an opening tag is defined by an opening angle, a closing angle, then of course content in the middle, and then a closing tag is defined by an opening angle, a forward slash, and a closing angle. And then beside that, we have attributes. Attributes are used to configure a HTML element. So for an attribute, we have an attribute name, and then we have attribute value. So as you proceed, you realize there are some elements that are slightly different, but generally this is how they look. So let's have a closer look inside our code editor. So you can open your code editor, and then to start a new project, you can always create a folder and then create all your files there. But for me, I prefer, first of all, I navigate to where I want to have my project, create the folders, and then I can open them in VS Code. So that is the approach I'm going to use. So let me navigate to a place where I will have my project. So let me create the folder for my project. Okay, so once you have your folder, you can drag your folder and drop it into your code editor. Just drop it here. Alternatively, you can just navigate to where you have your project and then right click and then show more options, and then you can open with code editor. So once you do that, you can see here we have our project folder open, even though it's empty. But before we add anything, I want us to configure our VS Code editor by adding some extensions, very useful extensions. So extensions usually configure this editor and adds more functionality to the editor. So for you to add an extension, just click extensions options. And then from here, you can search material icon theme. So just click this to install and then make sure you install. So in my case, I already have it installed. So what this does, it makes sure that whatever file you have, they put an appropriate icon. So I'll show this as we proceed. Another extension I want you to add is Prettier. So it's this Prettier code formatter. So make sure you open this and also click install. It will take a moment to install. So this helps with formatting your code so that your code looks very organized. Yes, and then beside this, there is one more, actually two. Yeah, auto close tag. This helps when you type the opening tag, it will automatically close. So this is quite handy. So make sure to install this as well. Just click install. In my case, I already have it installed. And then beside that, we also have auto, just type auto rename tag. So you can install this one with 21 million installs. So this helps when you edit your tag to something else, to a different tag, it will automatically rename the closing tag or vice versa. So once you have these extensions installed, just click here, and then I want you to click the settings cog, and then inside settings, just open settings, and then type formatter. And then here you see default formatter. Make sure that Prettier is selected as the default formatter. So just select whatever options you have and make sure you have Prettier. And then also you can check this format on save. You can check it so that every time you save, your code is formatted. Yeah, so in case you face any challenge with that, you can let me know. But that's what we need to do to configure our code editor to make sure that it's working well. So you can again open your folder here, and then you see the folder we opened. So inside here, now we want to create a new file. So just click new file and then write index.html. So .html is very, very important because it tells this editor that this is a HTML file. And then you remember we added material icon. So at least it's able to identify this file as HTML and add an appropriate icon. So basically makes it look a little bit better. So now we have an empty HTML file. I want us to go through the structure of HTML document. So you can start off by typing an opening angle and then doc, and then just enter. So what we have here is a declaration tag. This tag declares this as a HTML document and helps the browser to correctly read or parse this document. And then we have another element called HTML, and then enter. So you see we have an opening tag, a closing tag. Yeah, so these elements wraps around all the other elements. It's the root element of a document. And then beside that, we have the head element. This element contains the metadata and information about the HTML document. For example, we can have another element inside the head, the title element. The title element defines the title of a document. For example, you can say my first. Okay, so beside the head element, we have the body element. The body element wraps around the visible parts of HTML element. For example, we can have a H1. H1 means a heading 1. So, and then maybe have the same title here. So basically, this is the structure of a HTML document. We have a declaration tag, and then we have the root element wrapping around all the other HTML elements. And then we have the head element that defines metadata and information about the document. And then we have the body that contains all the content that will be visible to whoever visits our page. Okay, so now we can open our page and see how it looks. So you can go to your project. And then from here, you can just open. You can open with whatever browser. I recommend you open with Chrome. Yeah, so with that, you can already see that this is the heading we have for our page, and then this is the title we have for our page. Yeah, so congratulations, you already have your first page. Very, very simple page. But I want us to improve something here. If I come to my page and let's say I add another element, paragraph element, and say, okay, we can have anything really. Let's just have some dummy text. For me to have dummy text, I just wrote P and then LO. So it generated for me some lorem text. So I was talking about we have a problem where if we change something, it doesn't reflect until we refresh and refresh the page again. Yeah, so this can be quite a headache. So I want us to do a small improvement here. So inside our code editor, let's go to extension and then look for this extension that's called Live Server. So the extension with over 59 million, just install this. This extension will help you easily run your page, and then whenever you make a change in your page, it will automatically reload and pick up the changes. So once we have that, I'm sure you'll be able to see this button, go live with the live server. So once we have that, now if I go to my page and then just click go live, you will open another tab. But now the difference with this tab, if you change anything on your page, it will automatically refresh. So maybe I can demonstrate that. I can add something here. Let me add another paragraph. Then we can say lorem 20, for example, to have 20 characters. So I've added a second paragraph. So now if I go back to my page, you see I have my second paragraph here. Yeah, so this is the beauty of using a live server, which is an extension in our code editor. And then now we don't have to refresh every time we make a change. Our change automatically reflects. Yeah, so basically, this is the structure of a HTML document. So initially, we typed it manually because I wanted you guys to know how to create such, but there is an easier way to do it. So I'm going to just delete everything, to highlight everything and delete. So I want to create a boilerplate. So all you need to do is just click an exclamation mark and then enter. So this will create for you a boilerplate template for what we had earlier. So you can see we have the document declaration, we have a HTML element, an opening HTML, and then we have a closing HTML. And then beside that, we have the head, and also we have the body, and also we have some more tags inside here. Yeah, so this is a boilerplate. So every time you want to create something like this, it's very easy. You can just type exclamation mark, enter. You have the boilerplate, and then you can begin from this, because this is something you'll be doing over and over again. So I promised you that by the end of this video, you'll be able to build your own simple web page and also deploy it. So now let's go and do that. And we are going to start from scratch. So let's navigate to where we want to create our project files. In my case, I want to create my project from here. So all I need to do is create a folder for my project. You can have any name for your project. And then inside this project, I want to create, I want to paste something here. So I will share this with you. I'll share a link to this. These are basically the notes of what we are going to create. And I also have an image here. So it's just something that is very, very basic. So beside that, let's open our project. So you can right click and then show more options and then open with the code editor. Or you can drag and drop this folder in your editor. So once you do that, just continue. So what we have here, I told you these are just some notes on what we're going to create so that it saves us some time. And then also I have an image here. Yeah, so just that. So we are going to start from scratch, like I said. So let's get started. Following our notes, we are going to create a personal profile website. So the first thing to do is to create our index file. So let's just create index. And then just write an exclamation mark, enter. So this creates a boilerplate for us. So I want us to have the preview even as we work to avoid back and forth. So to do that, let me make sure that I reduce this screen. Okay, so with that, by the way, you can close this tab just by clicking here. Yeah, so now we have some space to work on. Yeah, so once we have this, I want to display something here just for a test. You can say hello world. And then I want to go live with our live server. Yeah, so at least we can see even as we work on our page. So with that done, let's start filling our page. So here we see we have the page title. This is the title that will be displayed at the top. So we can just copy it here from our notes and then come to our index file. Instead of just saying document, we can have the title of our HTML page. So here you can have your name. Next, we have what looks like a heading. So I'm going to copy this, and then in our HTML document, we write a heading. So in HTML, we represent headings using H1 all the way to H6. So H1 means the most important heading, and then H6 is the least important heading. So to show you that, I'm going to write all of them so that you see the difference. So we can start with the H1, and then I paste my heading there. I paste my heading inside the title. So you see we have our heading there. And then I want to duplicate this heading. And then instead of H1, I say H2. So thanks to our auto tag rename, at least when we change the opening tag, the closing tag is changing automatically. So you can see H2 is a little bit smaller. So we can duplicate again and have H3. H3 is even smaller. And then let me again duplicate. Let me show you another trick. If you hold Shift and Alt, if you click on the line you want to duplicate and then Shift Alt and then downward arrow, you'll be able to duplicate the line. So it's very, very easy to keep on duplicating like that. Yeah, so again, if you want to duplicate, Shift Alt, downward arrow. Yeah, I think that's quite handy. So H2, not H2, H4. And then we have H5. Then we duplicate again, we have H6. Yeah, so you see, this is the order of titles. So in HTML document, it's usually recommended to only have one H1 because you can only have one main title, and then the others will follow in that order. So in this case, we only need one title, so we can delete the rest. And then next, let's look at our notes. So we have this that looks like an explanation, a description. So we can represent this using a paragraph. So you can just copy. And then here, how do you represent a paragraph element? Just say P, and then we paste. So we have our paragraph there, which explains more about the title or the heading. Next, I think it would be good if we have an image below the paragraph. So how do we represent an image in HTML? It's very simple. Image element is img. Just type that. So in this element, you remember when I was talking about the anatomy of a HTML element, we said there are some elements that are a little bit different. So image is one of them. It doesn't have a closing tag, so it's self-closing, in other words. So this is one, but still it has some attributes here. So we have an src attribute, which represents the source, and then the alt. So I said attributes are used to configure an element. So for example, an image element is just a container, but we can pass a source of a specific image so that we configure the element to represent something specific. Yeah, so in this case, what we need to do is, you remember we added an image. If you don't have this image, you can actually add your own. So make sure that the image and the index file are in the same folder for this to work. So what you need to do is just type user.jpg. Yeah, so you see, after doing that, we are displaying our image, but again, the image is quite big. So for us to make it better, I'm going to add another attribute here. that will just define the size of the image. So what I'm going to add is style. And then I'm going to say width 200 pixels. Okay, so at least now we can see it well presented. So let's go back to our notes again, and then we have hobbies. Yeah, so this looks like a list of items, and then the hobby looks like a heading. So we're going to start with that. So let's start hobbies. So what we need is heading, and in this case we can go for heading 2. Then we say hobbies. Yeah, so you see we have our heading here, and maybe I can add something here. I can add another element that's called HR for horizontal rule. This is also self-closing like IMG. So for self-closing elements, I said they only have an opening tag, they don't have a closing tag, and then you can add a slash before you close. And same to this, but again you can omit it. It still works the same. Yeah, so horizontal rule just adds a line. It's sort of a divider of different sections. So back to our hobbies, we have the title, and then we want to go with the list. So we want to say these are our hobbies: cooking, teaching, badminton, and traveling. So we can just copy them to save us some time. So how do you represent list items? You use an ordered list. So just say UL is an element, and then inside an ordered list element, you can have list items. So they are LI. The first one is cooking. Let me remove it. Let me remove this. And then the second one, you can have another LI. You can have as many list items as you need. Yeah, so if I save that, you see already we have hobbies, and then these are the list items. Yeah, so you can add as many as you want here. Yeah, so I can again just remove. I also want to show you another trick that can make your life very, very easy. If you want to type this quick, you can just say UL, and then forward angle, and then LI, and then you can say times 5, for example. This will generate the list items, however number you need, and then you can just type your values. So in this case, I can just copy my items here. Let me just put them here, even as I copy. So we have cooking as the first item, and then we have teaching, and then we have badminton, and then we have traveling and going on safaris. And then when you click save, your pre-formatter should work, but I'm wondering mine doesn't want to work, which I think it's fine. We just deal with it. Yeah, so we have our list items. So let's have a look at our notes again. So here we have another title, my favorite recipe. And then we have what looks like a description or a paragraph. So we can go with that. Copy this, another title. So my favorite recipe. So make sure everything is within the body. So another heading 2. You can have more than one heading 2. But for H1, you only need one. But for H2, you can have several. Yeah, so my favorite recipe, and then we have a paragraph, if you remember. So in this paragraph, what we need is this description. Okay. So beside that, let's go back here. So we have ingredients. Ingredients is another list item. So you see ingredients: 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of flour, and so on. So let's just copy the whole of this. Come here, just paste. So ingredients, that is a title. So you can say H2, and then we copy this. and then we have the list items. So again, we can say an ordered list, LU, or rather UL, and then LI, and then we have times 4. So times 4, just click asterisk and then 4, then enter. So you generate this. So you can copy, you can cut this and paste here. You can remove this and save. So you see we have our ingredients here, a list of ingredients. And then next, we have steps on how to prepare our favorite meal. Yeah, so steps looks like they are ordered list. I mean, they go one after another. So still, we can have the title and then we have these items. But again, I think they should be ordered. So in this case, we can come to our HTML. We have another title here. So you can say heading 2, and then we say steps. So how do you represent ordered list in HTML? Yeah, you use ordered list. You see this is an ordered list. So ordered list is just OL, enter, and then still you have list items. Okay, so it's that simple. So how many items do we have here? I think we have 4 also. So let me just copy this, and we have them here, and just paste them here temporarily. Yeah, so again, we can use a shortcut and just see OL, forward angle, LI, asterisk times 4, and then enter. Sorry, it doesn't seem to work. I think it's because we have some text there, but it's still fine. You can just say OL and then LI. Actually, you can say LI times 4. It still works. So our first step is preheating the oven, and then our second step is mix all ingredients. Our third step is scooping our dough, and then our last step is baking. Okay, so again, when you save, your pre-formatter should work, but mine is misbehaving here. I will fix it by the next video, but for now I think we can just proceed. Yeah, so I wanted to show you the results. So you can see steps. We have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Yeah, so that's how you represent an ordered list. And then let's see what we have here next. Next, we have contact info. Yeah, so our location, and we have a link here that probably can lead us to where we are located. Yeah, so in this case, we can just have a title for the contact info, and then we represent this other information. Let's go. So let's go to our index and then contact info. So still we can have H2 and then contact info. And then in HTML to represent address, because what we see here, this looks like an address. We have an address element. So just type address, and then we wrap everything inside address element. So the first one looks like a paragraph, and then we have an anchor tag, something you can click and it takes you somewhere. Yeah, so let's start with this, our location. Can copy that. This is our paragraph, and paste. And then let's also have our anchor tag, something that's clickable. So you see it says visit this particular location. Yeah, so here we can just say anchor tag, just type A and then enter. So an anchor tag has a href attribute. This is where you define the link of where you want this link to go to once clicked. So for example, here I can say visit location. So here you can put either an absolute URL or a relative URL. A relative is something like /contact page or something like that. Whereas an absolute is something like HTTPS / for example, let's say Yeah, so when you click this, it takes you to this particular website. So this is an absolute URL, whereas the other option was the relative URL. And again, we have another attribute here called target. So this target, it's very weird. You can just say _blank. So if you have this attribute, when you click this link, it will open that in a different tab. So I'm going to show you here. So you see this is our link. If you hover on it, you see the link where it will redirect. So if I click on it, it opens on another tab. Yeah, so that's the difference. But if I remove it, if I just remove this attribute, it's still a link, but if I click, it will replace my existing page. Let me go back. Yeah, so let me add it here, target _blank to open in a separate tab. So this is our simple website. At least we've learned a number of HTML elements. For example, we've learned a H1 for the heading all the way to H6, and then P for a paragraph, and then IMG for an image element. And also we've learned about void elements or self-closing elements, for example, image, and also horizontal rule or HR. And then we have our heading. We've also learned about an ordered list, and we've learned a shortcut that can help us write this quite fast. And then also a paragraph again, and then an ordered list, and then ordered list, how you can have your list numbered. And then also we've learned about the address element. Yeah, so I said you don't need to cram any of this. They'll just come naturally as you use them. Yeah, so this is our page. It looks very, very simple. But for us to make it more beautiful, we need CSS. Yeah, so this is just the beginning. Of course, you should start from somewhere. So you start with HTML, and then once you have your structure, you can now go to the next step of designing. So before we finish this video, I'm going to show you how you can deploy your simple website. By the way, there are so many options to deploy, but in this case, I'm going to show you one. And then as we continue, maybe I can show you other options. And this option is free, so you don't have to worry. So to deploy our website, I want us to go to this platform. It's called GitHub. So just type GitHub, github.com. So once you're here, if you don't have an account, just sign up, follow the steps to sign up. And then once you sign up, you are ready for us to continue. So in my case, I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in. So after logging in, of course, your page might be a little bit different, but just look for a plus button somewhere that allows you to create a repository. So just click create new. And then here you're represented with a page like this. So you can choose any owner. You can say, in your case, I think maybe it will be just one option, but just choose that. And then you can give it any name of your choice. So in this case, maybe you can say basic HTML course. Okay. So again, you can choose either public or private. So when you have it public, everyone can see your code. If you have it private, people will not see your code. And then you can add a README file if you like. This README file is the first page that talks about the project and everything. So it's okay to just add it here. And then you can leave everything as is, and then just create repository. Okay, so this is the README file page where you can add maybe a description about your project. You can click edit and say basic HTML. It uses markup language where a hashtag represents a heading. So here you can say this is my first project, or whatever you want to add. So after you do that, you can save by committing the changes. Just say commit changes. Of course, you can go back to your folder. So you see a title here. So you can have any description you want, but this is not the focus of this video. What I want us to focus on is deploying our project. We need to add some files in our repository, this basic HTML course repository. So just click here, so you can upload files or you can create a new file. So in this case, we have our files ready. So you can just upload. Yeah, so we have this option where we can choose some files or we can just drag and drop. So in this case, I'm going to drag and drop, but again, you can choose this option. So let's navigate to our project. Okay, so once we are in our project, what we need is to highlight our files. So you can just add the 3 files, but the notes is not really necessary, but it doesn't matter. So let's drag and drop here. So it will take some time to upload your files. And then once you're done, you can just commit changes. So you have your files committed. So make sure that one of the file is index.html. So you can see your code here. Okay, you can go back to the project. Now we want to deploy our website. So what you need to do is to click settings. And then pages. So you can say deploy from the branch. This is okay. And then choose a branch here, main. And then just like that, save. So it will take some time to deploy, but all you need to do is to refresh after some time. So you keep on refreshing until you see this. So once you have this, you can just click here and you have your website. So this is a live link that you can share with anyone to see your first website. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You can find the next video where we'll be talking about advanced HTML, and in the next video we'll talk about CSS, how we can make our pages beautiful.